welcome back to She's At It Again. My name is Tanya, and we're going to get this blueberry thing made because my phone keeps ringing. I've had my oven preheating for like 40 minutes. So anyway, this recipe calls for cottage cheese. It's a cottage cheese blueberry bake, and I have fresh but frozen blueberries from my friend's blueberry bushes, and this sounded yummy to me, so let's get started on this. And it shouldn't take too long because I have everything, well, I'll show you. I have everything sitting out already, so I wouldn't have to turn around and start dragging things out of the cabinet. First thing I want to do is take my pastry brush and just give a little brush of coconut oil. This is my coconut oil that I'm using. I buy it by the bucket because we use a lot of coconut oil, whether it's for popcorn or stuff like this, or just anything we can think of using coconut oil for. I love it. All right, we're going to generously coat the inside of this. Now, what better to make a blueberry recipe with than an enamelware blue speckled pan? I just thought this was appropriate. You can also use an 8x8 baking dish if you don't have a pretty blue speckled pan like mine. All right, in this container, let me drag you down here. I'm going to break an egg. How about that egg? Isn't that pretty? That's from my friend's chickens. They lay all, oh, it's a double yolker, guys. I've never opened a double yolker on camera, so I got to show it to you. One of them broke, but you can see there were 2 yolks in there. How about that? That's always fun. All right, so I have 1 egg. That was 1 egg. And then we have 2 cups of whole milk, or I think it's considered 4% milk cottage cheese. I use Daisy brand cottage cheese, but there is another kind, I think it's called Good Culture or something like that. People are really raving about it. I'll have to try that eventually, but I've eaten Daisy cottage cheese for years. I eat it just about every day, ever since I discovered cottage cheese and fruit is not just for old people, but I know back when I was a kid, people would say, oh, cottage cheese and pears are so good. I'm sorry, pears are not good with anything. They feel like sand in my mouth. I'm not eating them. I'm just not going to do it. But when I discovered fresh peaches and cottage cheese, that was the deal breaker for me. Now, right now, I'm going through a phase right now where the organic grapes at our supermarket are really good, so I'm eating grapes and cottage cheese, and then I put English walnut pieces on top of that at breakfast. I almost have more walnuts than I do grapes, but seriously, they're so good. All right, so 2 cups of cottage cheese in that. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of honey, and I coated this with some coconut oil just so it'd come out easier, but really and truly, it doesn't come out that great because honey is just sticky. Oops, and I just sloshed it on the counter. I can get that up. Ta-da! All right. Now we got it in there. I'm just replacing the sugar that an original recipe called for. It said put in a 4th cup of sugar. So 3 tablespoons of honey should be adequate for sweetening that, but lower glycemic index, and it'll be fine. You don't have the bad effects of processed sugar. We're also going to put 2 teaspoons of vanilla in this. This is my homemade vanilla that I just transferred to a smaller jar. All right, we're going to push this aside. And in this bowl, I'm going to mix 1/2 cup of plain flour. This is just organic plain flour. 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, pink Himalayan salt. half of a teaspoon of baking soda, not baking powder, but baking soda. Okay, half a teaspoon. Had to double check my recipe real quick. All right, just gonna mix that around a bit. And then we're gonna put this flour mixture into our cottage cheese mixture. Give this a stir. This is only going to bake for about 30 to 35 minutes, and I have my oven preheating a long time to 350 degrees, and I have my little convection oven out in the sunroom going for this particular job. All right, I have about a cup of fresh but frozen strawberries, not strawberries, these are blueberries. Must have had strawberries on my mind. You can use strawberries in this. Actually, you could use really any kind of fruit you wanted, but the blueberries just look so pretty, and I am a sucker for a blueberry. And it turns out looking lavender because my blueberries colored the cottage cheese. We're just going to pour it in the pan. This reminds me a lot of just blueberry muffin mix, the store-bought kind that you used to buy. Well, I say used to. I used to buy in a box. I don't buy it anymore. I hadn't bought it in years. But, oh, I love that stuff so much. But I loved it when the juice from the blueberries would turn the dough kind of a lavender gray color. All right. Spread that around. And supposedly, in 30 to 35 minutes, this is going to be a cottage cheese blueberry bake. So you know the drill. I'm going to put it in the oven, and then when we come back, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is our finished product. This is our cottage cheese blueberry bake. And I can tell you, it smells like some of those boxed blueberry muffins, which they're not good for you, but I'm telling you, I remember as a kid, I could eat the whole dozen of those if they were ever made. This smells absolutely delightful, and I am so excited about trying it because you think about it, 3 tablespoons of honey, that's the only sweetener in the whole thing. I'm sure you could use a gluten-free flour in this, and it would probably turn out with the same consistency. I just don't know because I don't have a gluten-free flour that I use on a regular basis. If somebody orders an angel food cake that's gluten-free, I make up my own mix, but I don't have a gluten-free flour. But if you're willing to try that and let me know how it turns out, I would be so appreciative of that. So for right now, the recipe for this is in the description. You have the tutorial right in front of you. Give this a try. This would make an absolutely perfect breakfast, or with a little bit of whipped heavy cream with honey in it as a dessert. A slice of this would be so pretty. So thanks for joining us, and we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. I'm out of breath for going out there just down the stairs to get this, and I just keep talking fast. I don't know why I'm talking fast. So anyway, thanks guys. Bye.